What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Matt and Zach show. I'm Matt. He's Zach. Zach, say what's up to the beautiful people out there.
What is up, beautiful people? Are you ready for the Super Duper SuperBowl Pod?
Super Duper SuperBowl Pod. I don't know how that just came out of nowhere.
It just came out. That's how I wanted to start it. I had it in the back of my mind. I didn't even tell you.
Guys, it's Super Bowl week. We are, what? I don't know how many hours here. I don't know the math of it. But we are a few days away from the Super Bowl. It is, again, we're recording these on Thursdays. We're dropping our podcast Fridays at 11. Then you have Saturday to listen to us and get more into the Super Bowl mood. And then Sunday, just listen to us right before the Super Bowl just to get that last little marination of great Super Bowl moments that we're going to be providing you today.
Because we know that you want to know everything about the Super Bowl. And we're not just talking game. I mean, we all know that the Super Bowl is like a cultural phenomenon.
Dude,
like there's no other sport that gets the surroundings of the Super Bowl, like
our
the commercials
wives,
and like
our wives are gonna be into it. We're actually watching the Super Bowl together. It's me, Zach, his wife, my wife, and our good friend Johnny are gonna be here at my place watching it. I mean, when do you get that on a random Sunday anywhere in February? Anywhere. It's crazy what the Super Bowl does bring us together, but I want to do this before we go into this. So I'm gonna deviate from the Super Duper Super Bowl pod because it is impossible, as Zach is still shimmying.
Super Duper Super Bowl pod.
So again, no introductions needed, although that's kind of what is. I want to bring this up because the NBA is really annoying. We have nothing but greener pastures for the NBA for the next 8-9 weeks before we get into the football draft stuff. The NBA will rule this podcast. 1 week we want to do a Super Bowl pod, and the NBA goes, boom, bam, bam, news, breaking news, trade.
Ooh, I like that. Bam, boom, bang.
I feel like a comic book. It's crazy what the NBA is doing right now, and we're going to talk just a tiny, tiny bit about the NBA because it's hard not to. Because we are a sports podcast that loves all sports. We don't discriminate against the sport. And the NBA, although I hate it right now for giving us this great news before the Super Bowl, Anthony Davis, Zach, your thoughts? I mean, Anthony Davis is top 5 player in this league?
Top 5? Yeah.
Top 5 player in this league says, New Orleans, it's been great, but, like, I want to go. I'm not going to sign with you, so you better trade me. To me, I don't understand Anthony Davis right now. Go ahead and let me know what your thoughts are.
Well, something I was thinking about earlier. So, for those that don't know, Anthony Davis requested a trade. No.
Rich Paul told the New Orleans Pelicans that he will not re-sign with them and that he requests to have a trade. But Anthony Davis has not yet to say anything yet.
And Rich Paul is Anthony Davis's agent.
Fun fact, also LeBron's best friend.
Also LeBron's agent and good friend. Really? Best friend? Did you know he met him at an airport?
Sure.
He was selling jerseys.
I thought that
he ran into him.
I thought that they grew up together in high school, but probably not. Then.
No, Rich Paul went to Benedictine, is that it?
St. Benedictine.
Yeah, in Cleveland. But, so it looks like AD wants out of New Orleans. He has, a year and a half left on his contract.
The rest of this year plus all of next year.
And he, in so many words without coming out of his own mouth, basically said anywhere he goes is going to be a pit stop on his way to LA.
Yeah, but didn't Paul George say this too?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a definite thing, but Paul George definitely said the same thing, and look he's playing the best basketball of his career right now in OKC.
New Orleans is a little petty, and I don't blame him.
You talk about the video?
Oh, yeah, they took him out of the video. Also, they said, well, you know what, you want to be traded? LA, we're not going to trade him to you, which I think is a great strategy because... Yeah, they probably if the Pelicans say we're not gonna trade you to LA, and LA's like, all right, we'll give you Kuzma, Ingram, Ball, Hart, and 2 first-round picks. They'll be like, oh, okay, we'll take that. So then they'll reunite Julius Randle and have the Lakers from last year on their team. And I'm just saying they'll win like 35 games. Next thing you know, they're gonna trade for Nance and Clarkson and make the New Orleans Lakers down there.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think that they're extremely petty, taking him out of the video, the pregame video.
Did you hear the reason?
Because they didn't want him to get booed.
I don't agree with it.
He's injured, so whatever, dude. It's petty. It's almost as petty as the Pittsburgh, the new radios or the news station when they put Tom Brady known cheater and they fired him within a minute of him putting it out there. It's just, there's a lot of pettiness going on in sports, and I just think that New Orleans is being petty. It's like, Zach, I'm gonna put a real life example on this. You work where you work at right now. You love your job. You make a decent living. You have a competitive company offering you a better living arrangement, and it's a more well-known, a chance for you to succeed even more, and you make really good money as well. Would you entertain that?
You always entertain it.
Exactly. Would you take it? Yeah, I mean, yes or no, it doesn't matter, but it's your choice. These basketball players don't have a choice.
Well, and here's the big thing you talk about that is, like, I believe that if he leaves New Orleans, he basically leaves $80 million on the table.
Mil.
But let's be real here. Like, $80 million, leave $80 million on the table, you're still going to get, I don't know numbers on what the contract is, but let's say you're still going to get $100 million. Your contract's still $100 million.
But it's $100 million in LA, bro. The $80 million, that's taxes right there.
Yeah, I mean, cost of living, I don't know what that's like in Louisiana compared to California. I'm sure it's
better.
I
guarantee the only thing that you probably have to pay on is like hurricane insurance in LA or in Louisiana. In LA, you have to pay for like fire, and you might not even have water for a week. You don't know what
and I know we said we don't want to talk about this all day, and there's another an actual trade that we need to get to. But here's my thing with Anthony Davis is, and this goes as far as most professional athletes. I get that for contract reasons, you talked through your agent. If you're going to have people say this stuff about you, and you're going to talk about not wanting to play and you want to go elsewhere, talk about it. Like that's something that just bothers me about professional athletes is they don't talk about it. They let other people talk for them, and I get that's what an agent's job is. But
I think he can't technically do this because then it'd be like the tampering, $50K, yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on him. I hope that he does what. I hope he gets to go where he wants to go. I don't really care. The one thing is that he got a contract extension 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He didn't need to sign it.
Yeah,
he didn't need to sign it. And so there's I can both sides of this. Yeah. I think there's gonna be a lot more to come here in the next week and a half.
Do you think he gets traded before the deadline?
No.
I agree.
But if someone offers the Pelican, because Boston can't trade from him because of a stupid rule that the NBA has. Once Kyrie can renegotiate his deal this offseason, they can then sign, or they can go trade Anthony Davis. And I don't care if it's just for 1 year. You get Anthony Davis in that Boston market with Kyrie, and if Kyrie decides to stay, which that's not even a foregone conclusion. Imagine Kyrie in LA with Anthony Davis and LeBron. I'd hate my life as a Cavs fan.
Well, did you see? It sucks. I don't want to talk about all this basketball, and we got Super Bowl stuff, but
we got a couple minutes.
The fact that they started the whole Kyrie wants to play with LeBron thing again. But Kyrie has come out and said, "No, I still plan on staying in Boston."
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you had seen that. And
dude, yes, I've seen all this stuff. I'm not gonna say anything until I'm a Cleveland fan that has been burned by Carlos Boozer when he was with us with LeBron. No, and I understand Carlos Boozer is for our young audience. He was a very decent 6'9" power forward in LeBron's first stint with Cleveland. He was drafted the year before LeBron, and he was on out there saying that we don't need a guy, we don't need him, we can win without him. They won 15 games that year. Boozer said that if you let me out of my contract right now, he was a second-round pick. If you let me out of my second-year guarantee, he had a very small guarantee that I will re-sign with you guys. And the Cavs said, okay, well, we knocked him off of there. Or they took off the contract, and we gave him the 5 years, like $73 million, which in that time was a huge contract for a guy. And then he went and signed with Utah. Because he said, well, you made me a free agent. I did what I want to do. So I never trust athletes until their name is on the paper. So while we talk about names on papers, things that happen, Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, he was traded today.
Yeah.
Did anybody see this coming?
I think what's crazy is you compare it to the Anthony Davis situation. Anthony Davis goes, oh, I'd like to be traded. Kristaps Porzingis goes into a meeting and says, I don't like the way things are going here in New York. I don't like how you're using me, even though he's not playing right now because he's hurt. But I don't like how things look for me. Within like 45 minutes, they had a deal on the table.
This isn't the first time, though.
I understand
Porzingis has said this in the past. He is not sure if the New York Knicks are for him. And the funny thing is,
there were no signs of a trade until this afternoon.
Did Dennis Smith Jr. and Porzingis, were they a year apart, or were they the same draft class? Whatever it is. I remember Dennis Smith Jr., the Lakers were obsessed with him, and they just didn't get him. And now they ended up trading. So two disgruntled...
You mean the Knicks?
What did I say?
You said the Lakers.
Sorry, I'm
the Knicks,
still way up on the Anthony
Knicks
Davis
were very high on Dennis Smith.
So
Jr.
they get a guy they're really high on, but I'm sitting there going like, well, you just traded away Porzingis. And for the Knicks, I understand this. And my take on this with the Knicks is they got rid of a guy that's 7 foot that's already having leg problems, already having knee problems. You never know if he'll ever get back to what he was when he was at the maximum height. And he was only at that maximum height for him for what? 60 games?
Yeah, if that.
And then you got rid of Tim Hardaway Jr.
They've been trying to get rid of that money.
First off, what was that? 4 years, $72 million? Like, why would you even look to sign that? But you end up getting rid of him. And then Dallas, I like the perspective. DSJ was not happy with what was going on in Dallas's playtime. Luka came in, and he's the toast of the town. Get him out of there. Get him a fresh start. They got rid of Wesley Matthews, who just couldn't stay healthy. Get him a new start. So I think it's an even trade with the Wesley Matthews, Timothy Hardaway Jr. I think Dallas, if Porzingis comes back, and Jordan was a 1 year deal anyway. It doesn't matter. DeAndre Jordan.
Okay, I didn't realize that was just a 1 year deal.
Yeah, a 1 year deal for DeAndre Jordan. So he's gonna go to New York. He'll make a ton of money. He'll be around everybody with a lot of money, and then he'll go on and he can get another deal somewhere. He just can't go back to Dallas. But I don't mind anything that's what's going on with either trade. People are gonna see the Porzingis name table do it, and New York kind of blew him up as a superstar. I haven't seen him do it for 82 games yet. So
yeah.
And the same thing with DSJ. I haven't seen him do it for 82 games. So I think it's an okay trade for both teams.
Well, so what it does, especially getting rid of the Tim Hardaway contract, is they will now have
two max
spots next summer.
Mm-hmm.
What makes me, as a fan,
Kevin Durant.
I mean, that's
Kyrie Irving.
That is what they're betting on.
Kyrie Irving is going to be
Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving is going to be linked to every max deal in the world. Real Madrid has a max deal next year in their basketball team. Kyrie Irving's going to be linked to it.
If I was a fan of the Knicks, it gets you a little nervous saying, okay, I'm doing all of this for two max spots. There's no guarantee that one of those guys is going to come.
They've done that in the past with LeBron and all that thing.
And the next thing you know, you end up giving a max contract to somebody. I'm just throwing this out there. The way that the Wizards gave Otto Porter a max contract. Did he deserve it? Probably not. But then they have these contracts, and then they end up giving someone that probably doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. So the NBA is a little fire right now, as the kids would say. It's in fuego. But the thing that's going on with the NBA is awesome. Trade deadline next week. All-Star reserves were done today. We'll probably comment on that next week when we get to our All-Star draft that we're going to do like we did last year. If you're a loyal listener of the show, you know that we've done that in the past. So just keep your eyes out. NBA will be getting talked about a lot, but this is the Super Duper SuperBowl Podcast. Super Duper NFL Super Bowl Podcast.
Yes, sir.
So before we get into Super Bowls, though, we wanted to just clean up a little bit of stuff that we had from the last couple weeks, and we want to give you our top 20 NFL 2019 fantasy football players. So I know it just seems a little bit discombobulated right now because we're going from basketball to this, but we really wanted to finish this out and not leave it to the end of the show and be like, well, here's our Super Bowl prediction. Now here are our top 20 players. So it makes sense to do this right now. Zach, let's just go and quickly go from 20 to 10. And I think this is where we're going to have more of the disagreement. So actually, let's do 20 to 15. Who's your 20th player to your 15th player?
Number 20, Phillip Lindsay. Number 19, Dalvin Cook. 18, Antonio Brown. 17, Le'Veon Bell. 16, OBJ. 15, Joe Mixon.
Wow, we are going to disagree a lot today. So if you like us disagreeing, then you're going to love this next about 5-10 minutes of the show. My 20th player, Tyreek Hill. 19, Juju Smith-Schuster. 18, Mixon. 17, Chubb. 16, David Johnson. And 15, Dalvin Cook. I can't believe you have Lev Bell so low. I still can't believe that you have him so low. You don't know if he's going to be on a team. You don't know what team he's going to be on, but I guarantee he gets on a team, he's still going to be a top 10 player.
That's why this is very early. It's obviously going to change, but right now you don't know.
Set in stone, son. Set in stone. So let's go 14 to 10.
14, David Johnson. 13, Michael Thomas. 12, Julio Jones. 11, James Conner. 10, Al Kamara.
So we got some things in common there. I was just making some noises in the background just for comedic relief. Number 14 for me, I have Antonio Brown. I just don't know where he's going to end up. He could be in Pittsburgh next year, and he'll be a top 10 receiver, or top 10 player all over again. I have OBJ at 14. I have Julio at 12. I have Connor at 11. And I have DeAndre Hopkins as my 10th player. So that right there is your late end of the first round of most of your draft picks, the beginning of the second right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are going to be key contributors. Now we're going to get into money picks. Like your 1 through 10, if you have a pick here, you should get a superstar player. Zach, next year, who is your 10th, 9th, and 8th best player?
Now, I know that we're going to disagree on these two by a long shot.
I mean, 9, 8, 7. Sorry,
and my 9 is based off of thinking that he is the number one guy on his team. I know you said when we did our running back rankings that you do not believe this guy's going to be number one. But at number 9, based off his performance this past year, I have Marlon Mack. Obviously, that changes if they do happen to get Le'Veon Bell.
Lev Bell.
But as of now, Marlon Mack.
I get you.
Number 8, I'm rolling with them. High pick with Nick Chubb at number 8.
No,
I think that he played fantastic, and I think he lines that up well. Number 7, Devontae Adams, and number 6, DeAndre Hopkins.
I love the picks. I love the picks. Now, Nick Chubb, the reason why I had it 17 is I did this list like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I love the Freddie Kitchens just staying there. He was a very big part of them running the ball a lot more. Baker not throwing the ball as much and not getting hit. So I do love, and I think if I adjust my rankings a little bit, Nick Chubb will move up a little bit on there.
Okay.
So my number 9 is I have Michael Thomas. If Drew Brees does not retire, if Drew Brees retires, which I don't think there's any indications that he will be, Michael Thomas will drop down a little bit because you don't know who the quarterback is there. Number 8, Devontae Adams. He has Aaron Rodgers. New offense are going to open it up. I think he's going to have a bigger year this year than he had last year, and that's hard to believe. Number 7, Lev Bell. I'm obsessed with him. I think that he is going to be the guy, and wherever he goes, Jets, Indy, San Francisco, I don't know where he's thinking about going, but if he goes anywhere, he'll be the guy, and he's going to be fresh off of a year of playing poker and smoking cigars in Miami. I don't know what he does.
It's an interesting perspective, thinking that he will be fresh and not actually rusty.
No, he'll be fresh. Okay. Fresh to death. And then 6 for me is Alvin Kamara. Okay. And I just like Alvin Kamara. And then I'll do 5, and then let you do your. Actually, I'm just gonna go up and finish mine out, and then we'll let you finish yours. So number 5 for me, Melvin Gordon. I think the guy's a superstar, and that offense isn't gonna slow down. Number 4, Christian McCaffrey is a PPR monster and a PPR league, and these are what we do our rankings based on is PPR. He is second to none. I have Zeke at number 3. I have Saquon Barkley number 2, and I have Todd Gurley number 1. Now, I'm a little concerned with Todd Gurley's usage the last 2 years. I think that sooner or later, a guy that had a couple knee injuries in college and he's been a little kind of hurt here the last little bit of the season. I'm a little concerned with having him at my number 1, but I just think that he's about a couple years away from that real big breakdown season. But it's starting to get concerning to me because we talked about this when we did our fantasy show, our first fantasy show. When the leader in touches the year before, the year after, they had a struggle in their year. And if you can look at most people when they have a career high in touches, next year they either get injured or they have a bad year. Think of McKinnon in San Francisco. We all knew that he was going to get broken down there. But think about like Marshall Faulk in his heyday. When he was doing 300-plus touches for 3 straight years, the next thing you know, he came down, got hurt. He wasn't that good. So Zeke is in that thing for me as well. David Johnson, I know it was a freak injury, but freak injuries seem to happen when you come off of a career year touches-wise because your body's just a little bit more fragile. So I'm very concerned. I'm going to wrap this long explanation out. He's still my number 1 player, but a guy like Saquon who is fresh, ready to go. I know he got a lot of touches, but he's a rookie. I think that there's a 1-2 battle that I would not want to be a part of. But if I'm drafting, I think I want to be more like 4, 5, 6 than I want to be 1, 2, 3 in my opinion. Because I think that McCaffrey's a safer bet because he avoids the big hits. And also, I just think he's more reliable. But that's just my long explanation about this, and I don't know why I went on a tangent there. Zach.
Okay, so my top 5.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think we're both in the same boat of who the top 5 are.
Yeah.
I think the top 4 can be interchangeable. Your Well, I'll just say mine and then I'll talk about them. 5, Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
4, Ezekiel Elliott. 3, Saquon. 2, C-Mac. 1, Todd Gurley. I agree with you on Gurley. I think that his body is taking a beating, and I may not have him number 1 in 5 months from now. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey is ridiculously underrated, and that sounds crazy to say. He didn't even make the Pro Bowl, man. Which is insane. He didn't even make the Pro Bowl.
That shows how much
hard
I pay
because,
attention.
Zeke made it, Saquon made it, Kamara made it. So, if I'm being honest, Christian McCaffrey deserved it over Kamara. Kamara got, and that's, Pro Bowl doesn't matter, but, so Christian McCaffrey was 0.3 points away from being the leading running back in fantasy football this year. Saquon beat him by 0.3. At least with DraftKings. I don't know with ESPN. This is a stat I saw when they were doing some stuff on Twitter for DraftKings. But Christian McCaffrey can run between the tackles, but he doesn't have to. And he doesn't take the beatings that Zeke or Saquon did.
He always
this year.
seems to slither out of the way of the big hit.
How you can, and you didn't, but how some people may consider Zeke a better fantasy running back than Saquon or Christian McCaffrey is crazy, because you're not really running Zeke in receiver spots like they do with Saquon and McCaffrey, even more McCaffrey. Obviously, McCaffrey is going to depend on the health of Cam, but I just think I think Christian McCaffrey maybe end up being my number 1 come draft time, but I think any of those 5 are interchangeable.
Absolutely. No, I totally tend to agree with you. That's why I say, would everyone want Todd Gurley on their team, fantasy team? Yeah. I mean, you got to take him. But that's what I'm saying. 1, 2, and 3. I know Saquon's a safe bet. I mean, Saquon, did he have a game under 20 points this year? No. I mean, he is phenomenal. But I'm a big fan of Christian McCaffrey. And I was a huge fan this year, and I was so glad to get him at pick number 10 in one of my fantasy leagues. And, it helped me get very far in that fantasy league, because if you can hit in the middle, late first rounds, and you get those picks down there, because I think sometimes there's some really good players that get overvalued there. But we're not going to spend a ton more time on fantasy football. We wanted to wrap that up because fantasy football, we will sprinkle it in.
It's a sad day that it's over, though.
Well, here, I don't know if you can hear it. That's me making the sprinkle. I'm sprinkling it in. We'll sprinkle it in throughout the year because obviously this podcast is a football podcast. We love all the other sports, but mainly when it comes to football, we're a fantasy football podcast. We absolutely adore fantasy football. If I could marry it, I mean, I'd consider it. I don't know. But I'm just saying it is a great sport for us because we're really into it and we really like to explain ourselves and give our thoughts on it. So we will sprinkle it in throughout the year.
I'll say this. It's a sad day when you go onto DraftKings and the only option is the captain lineup.
Dude,
because there's only one game.
Did you see that the DraftKings is they're going to be doing a first half and second half?
They did that for the Pro Bowl.
Well, I wasn't paying attention to the Pro Bowl.
I didn't. I did fantasy because I'm addicted.
And then if you want us to start sprinkling in some DraftKings basketball lineups, let us know. Also hockey, which I now won 6 out of 6.
I won some money last night on DraftKings NBA. So
dude, I'm 6 for 6 on hockey. I'm picking on the tier system. I mean, I'm only winning like 70. I'm putting in a quarter. I'm putting in a quarter, making 75 cents. You do that for the rest of your life, I might be able to buy something by the end of it. So if you want us to sprinkle in more fantasy stuff, please let us know in our multiple platforms that you can reach out to us. So before we get into the Super Duper SuperBowl Podcast, if you want to listen to us, we're on we're on the Apple Podcast, we're on SoundCloud. That's 3 and Out, but Matt&Zack Show through 3 and Out. We have a website that we run through 3 and Out that the Matt&Zack Show appears on. It's 3andoutpod.com, THREENOutpod.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Zach, we are on Instagram.
We're on Instagram. I saw it.
We're Matt&Zack Show on Instagram, Matt&Zack Show on Twitter. That's where we're going to be. Facebook, we're not really on much because we go through the 3 and Out site with the Facebook. We're not old. We're not that old yet. We don't do everything on Facebook, but we would appreciate you guys getting onto our Twitter. We do some polls, getting onto Instagram, like some pictures. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, let us know. We want to hear from the public about how bad or good we are. If you think we're bad and rotten, tell us. I'll tell you that you're lying, but
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. What would be our Rotten Tomato grade? I'd say I'm not. And speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, we'll get into this, but our Rotten Tomato grade, I think would be I'm not going to be that good. I think we'd be like 82.3%.
All right, but you know what? Tweet us.
We're not for everybody.
The people, our listeners.
Our listeners.
Let us know what our Rotten Tomato percentage would be.
At least 82.3. 82.3 is where that. And speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, speaking of Super Bowl, dude, it's so much more than a game. In this part of the podcast, we're not going to focus on the game. We're going to talk about what I think I like almost as much as the game: commercials and the advertisement for movies coming out for the new. The new trailers for the year that they come out in the Super Bowl when they go the March and the springtime and the summer movies. Throw these gigantic trailers out. We're like, oh my God, I can't wait.
I am a cinephile, dude. Like, I love movies and I get so excited. One of the most disappointing things I saw, as I read an article yesterday, it said, don't get your hopes up. Most of the major movies are not going to have the trailers out this year that you expect from past years. So I'm hoping that they're just playing with our heads a little bit because I love new movie trailers.
Bro,
for example, I was Thanksgiving or something, and I'm a Disney fan. I don't care. I'm 31 years old. I grew up in the 90s. Disney movies are my thing.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting in the dining room, and the Lion King, like the new Lion King trailer came on, and I was like, I poked my head up, and I was like, is that the Lion King? And that's how I feel when I watch the Super Bowl. Like, I'm just waiting for a trailer. Like, I hope that something comes. And I feel like the biggest thing that happens now are superheroes. You're hoping for that new superhero movie.
Here's the thing, and I don't want to burst people's bubbles, and this is why I don't really get into much. This is why I hate the internet, and this is why I hate, like, YouTube. Half the time I already know what the movie trailers are because it gets released 2 days before the Super Bowl.
That does happen sometimes, but not all the time. Not with everything.
It happens enough. Like Captain Marvel's already dropped out their big trailers, so you kind of already have an idea what's going on with that. Well, you
see but it's a new trailer. Like, for example, if I had to tell you right now what movie trailer I want to see, it is obviously Avengers Endgame.
No.
And for me.
No.
And
wrong answer.
The fact is they've only put a snippet out. It's a really terrible trailer that I didn't even get excited about. So I'm hoping they have a full trailer.
Bro, the Margot Robbie... what's her name? It was just on Harley Quinn movie is going to be dropping a trailer.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No,
they had a teaser. They had a teaser a couple days ago.
I saw that.
And I got
weird teaser.
It was great.
I think it's called Birds of Prey.
Dude, Margot Robbie can do nothing wrong. She can sit there and she can eat a pasta, and I'll think it's a great thing going on. So don't give me any of that.
No.
So no. But that's like I'm saying. If I were going to want to see a movie trailer that comes out, that one would be one. They also have. Speaking of Disney, I mean, Lion King isn't like
Lion King.
Little Mermaid has. They have like. They have like three or four live action Disney movies this year.
Lion King, Aladdin, and Dumbo.
Aladdin, and my wife. Oh my God, I'm gonna get killed. My wife loves elephants. I mean, she has a tattoo of an elephant on her body somewhere. I'm not gonna tell you guys that, but if you know my wife, ask her. It's fine. She, half the people that listen here know her anyway. But she's obsessed with elephants, and I forgot that Dumbo. She's gonna kill me if I tell her I forgot about it.
I think it looks depressing.
Probably is going to be.
But the thing with Dumbo is they've already had there's already been released a full trailer for Dumbo. So there's nothing like...
Oh, snap. I need to... Looks like I'm getting on the YouTube tonight and showing her this because I did not know that was coming up. But also, they have... you have your superhero movies. You have, there's going to be some good movie trailers coming out. Is there anything else movie-wise you want to bring up before we move on to... I think what is probably the most important part of Super Bowl is commercials. I actually made a list of the trailers I want to see. Well, here, list them out. Boom.
Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
The Lion King. Here's the trouble with the Marvel movies. Marvel is owned by Disney. It costs $5 million for one 30-second commercial. So they have to limit what they do because of how much money they can put in. Mm-hmm. So it's not. So you're only going to get so much Disney because it's both Marvel and Disney. Yeah. 3. I know you're not going to like this. It Chapter 2.
Nope.
X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's been really quiet, but that's coming out this year.
With what's her name from the one that plays the main character, the chick from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I can't think of her name. Sophia
that plays Sansa.
Whatever. We'll figure that out later. Because
and this isn't a movie, but I've heard. I don't think it's going to happen, but I heard some people that were like, "Well, what's a better place to?" Stranger Things trailer that we're still waiting to see for this year. So, but that's what I'm looking for.
Did you know that the main characters, one of them now is 16, and he was born when these two teams played last in the Super Bowl?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
which we're going to talk about.
Well, we're going to get into the pop culture.
But yeah, I mean and that's just a part of the commercials. I love commercials. You got your funny ones, you got your sad ones.
In this house, when the Super Bowl's going on, during the game, talk, it's fine. You can talk. The minute commercials are going, everyone needs to shut up because we need to watch it. So he likes the movie trailer. I'm obsessed with the commercials. So like for me, you know, the best commercials of all time. When I think best Super Bowl commercials of all time, I think of the Budweiser. You know, there's the Clydesdales, there's the Frogs, the Bud.
Funny is
Zap. It was a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I started, and I didn't finish, unfortunately, but I started what I wanted to put down as my favorite commercials. And the only one I got down was the Budweiser Frogs. Oh, that's the only thing that made my list.
Dude, even the timeless ones where, you know, I was so young, I don't remember it, but, you know, it's a commercial you always see. The Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, McDonald's horse game was a Super Bowl commercial.
Yes,
so
it
you're
was.
sitting there going like, man, what are all these great commercials? So my favorite one of all time, though, is Office Terry Tate, Office Linebacker. I don't know if you guys remember it. You guys can YouTube it. I remember that. So if you guys are listening to us on the phone right now, it's okay. Hit pause. Don't worry. We'll wait. So if you just went back and listened to and watched it, dude, Terry Tate, Office Linebacker, it, to me, is one of the funniest ones of all time. It's this big dude. He used to play football. He's in an office setting, and he's like, there's flags. Just go back and listen and watch it if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you do know what I'm talking about, you're probably laughing because, yes, you know what it is. And also, for me, I think the Betty White Snickers commercial of like 2 years ago was absolutely amazing, where it's like, if you're hungry, why wait? Eat a Snickers. And there was Betty White playing football in the backyard because the guy was saying, you play like Betty White when you're hungry. It was hilarious. And then finally for me, it was last year, but I think one of the best commercials that I look back at last year, and I think is going to be timeless with me, is the Alexa Lost Her Voice commercial, where you have Rebel Wilson, Cardi B, Gordon Ramsay, where the guy goes like, hey, Alexa, show me how to make a grilled cheese. And Gordon Ramsay's on like his like row machine. And he's sitting there going like, you're 31 years old and you don't know how to make a grilled cheese. The name is the recipe, you dimwit or whatever. And then you have Cardi B going like, the guy's like, how far is Mars? He's like, why you want to go to Mars? There ain't no oxygen up there. It's great. So if you need to look back at it, go ahead and listen to it. Commercials to me are what make the Super Bowl that extra level special. The game's great. The pageantry with the halftime commercial, everything is amazing. The 19 hours of Super Bowl coverage beforehand is amazing, but the commercials are something that everybody universally likes, and doesn't matter if you hate football, love football, commercials bring you together.
I'm watching Terry Tate in the background right now.
Terry Tate, Office Linebacker.
It's a Reebok commercial.
It is a Reebok commercial, which here's the one thing about this whole thing. I was like thinking back about commercials, and I'm like, oh, Terry Tate, Office Linebacker, and I'm sitting there going like, what was the product being sold there? I couldn't tell you, but I just remember Terry Tate going around tackling people. Great commercial. So
there's Tate and Kate.
I don't know.
There's two guys.
Terry Tate. It's T Tate.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Big dude.
Yeah,
big
for
dude.
sure.
Like Terry Crews looking dude.
Yeah.
Like he has a Terry Crews body feature to him. So football, when it comes to it, good beer, good food, great commercials. What's up?
Were any of the Terry Crews commercials for Old Spice Super Bowl commercials?
You know, I'm trying to...
Because those are some of my all-time favorite commercials in general.
I'm trying to do a lot of research on them, and I'm looking back on, like, man, there's a lot of these commercials I had no idea. Like, the Sidney Crawford Pepsi commercial, the timeless one of her drinking Pepsi, whatever. All these things are all the Pepsi commercials too. Pepsi usually does pretty good.
Yeah.
Doritos, another one of my favorite commercials all time, and I really didn't get to mention it, is I think it was last year or 2 years ago, where you have the little kid as a box and it says time machine on it, and it says it runs on Doritos, and then he gets in there eating the Doritos, whatever, and then he leaves.
You're
and then
so old.
Get off of my lawn.
that one. Doritos does pretty good too.
So like Doritos, there's usually a car company that'll do something really funny. Amazon's starting to become really good with their commercials. Pepsi, Coke, and Snickers. Those are usually your go-to. And I'm your beer commercials.
I'm all in for the funny commercials. Like the ones that like are like sending a message and like everyone's like, oh, that really meant something. I do not care. I'm here to laugh.
Yeah, but you know what? These people take the platform because they know they have the most eyeballs you'll ever have on
It's a $5 million platform.
Yeah, so speaking of $5 million, let's talk about some comparisons. So, again, these two teams, let's actually talk about some football. We're halfway through the podcast, and I don't think we've mentioned the Rams or Patriots yet. for a Super Duper Super Bowl podcast.
That's a good point.
So we're about halfway through. Rams and Patriots, okay? So they played each other in 2002. It was February 3rd or whatever.
It was the exact date, same day as this one is.
So, which is even crazier. I didn't even realize that.
February 3rd, 2002.
So in 2002,
the beginning of an era.
I don't know if you have. I did some notes. He has some notes. We don't compare things because we want to be spontaneous, so we don't know what anyone's going to talk about. But I prepared some pop culture / things that happened in 2002.
17 years ago. So that's before we get into that pop culture.
I was in 6th grade.
2002. February.
No. High school. Because I graduated in 2005.
4, 3.
So I was a sophomore. Freshman, sophomore year of high school. No,
it would have been February.
Sophomore year. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Freshman.
High school.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We're in high school at the time. Now we're adults that are married.
Tom Brady's first Super Bowl.
Tom Brady's first year in the league.
Really?
I thought it was. First year starting then. Maybe. I don't know. What was
he went to the Super Bowl his first year?
No, because he was drafted in 2000. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get, that's not what I want to get into on this.
2002, 17 years ago.
So Super Bowl ads right now are $5 million for 30 seconds. There were $1.9 million that year for a minute. Every minute was $1.9 million. So in 2002, Zach, it was a great year for me and you. 2002 football, Ohio State won the national championship. 2002 basketball, Maryland won the national championship. Great year for us in that sense. And there was a lot of other things that happened in there. We had the Bush presidency. 2002, President Bush was there. This is post Katrina. This is crazy how long ago this was. You're looking at the number one song for 2002, "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
Okay.
That's some crazy things.
So what I actually looked up were day specific.
Yeah.
The number one song on February 3rd in 2002.
Was that a Nickelback song?
No, I think it was the week before. It actually was Nickelback.
No, Nickelback was very big.
You remind me, I think.
Yeah, Nickelback was very big.
Usher, You Got It Bad.
Oh my
was
God.
number one on February 3rd.
You got it bad.
Such a good song. Usher,
I almost want to pause the podcast right now to listen to that song to get into the right frame of mind of what that year was like.
Yeah. In comparison, this year's number one song is Ariana Grande.
Oh, you would.
Seven Rings.
Thank you.
Never even heard.
No.
A song called 7 Rings. Never heard it.
It is the number one song on Spotify. I keep forgetting that. But yeah, I mean, the top song there, you had the Lakers won the NBA title. The Anaheim Angels with the Rally Monkey beat the San Francisco Giants in the World Series. There is a lot of crazy things. And the greatest marketing saying of all time was formed in that year.
What's that?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
That was created in 2002?
2002.
Oh, I thought that was like 1970.
No,
that's been around for like ever.
That's good.
That's crazy.
What happens here stays here was the exact way that they phrased it when they did that. That's crazy, yeah. And then, your biggest TV shows at the time were, and this was February of this year too, so I'll give you an accurate depiction. Okay. It was CSI, Friends.
So the original CSI, CSI,
not CSI
before
Miami,
they came out with like 12 other ones.
Not
CSI Belgium,
Alberta, Canada. CSI, the original one. We have Friends. I don't know what Joe Millionaire is, but that was the third.
Joe Millionaire.
Joe Millionaire on Fox was the third best.
It sounds familiar. But...
I have no idea. Then you had ER, American Idol, Survivor, Everyone Loves Raymond, Law and Order. Monday Night Football, by the way, was still very popular apparently at that time in the Nielsen rankings. And then I just saw this. CSI Miami was the number 10 show in America at that time.
Joe Millionaire was a show that kind of resembles maybe like The Bachelor type thing.
Oh, I think I remember. It was like a guy that was a millionaire that he would go on the show for like a dating show, but he would never say how much he's worth, and he tries to get the girl to love him before the money, and then he goes, yeah, I drive a Bentley.
Yeah, this unscripted series sends 20 women to France where they think that they're hanging out with a millionaire, but he's actually a construction worker.
So it's the other way around. So it shows that, and then at the end of it, they're like, do you want to stay with them even though he doesn't have this money? And all the girls are like, nah, man, I wanted that money. Yeah, no, so that's crazy. So
it's what's crazy to think about, like, when I think 17 years ago, I don't think that shows how old we're getting. Like, you talk about Everybody Loves Raymond, like that's on Nick at Night now. Like that's what you watch at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think I ever watched ER when it was on.
I never watched ER.
I never watched ER. Friends is like
I still watch
bingey.
Friends.
Friends is a bingey thing on Netflix now. Like, I mean, they Netflix and chill Friends now.
So the one thing you didn't bring up,
what?
What do you think gas cost back then?
2002, I'm gonna say it's by like $1.39.
Pretty close.
$1.39 a gallon. Because when I was like in middle school, I remember it being like 89, 99 cents a gallon. And I remember in high school, because I had a friend that would always drive, and he goes, "Yo, we gotta hook you up with that gas money." And I'd be like, "Yo, $5 gonna be good." And he's like, "Yeah, that'll give me a couple gallons." So I'm sitting there going, $5 now. If someone offered me $5 for gas, I'm like, "Get the hell out of my car." Can I even get a gallon with that nowadays?
Yeah, that's the point that I'm going to bring up.
Sorry.
$1.44. February 2002. You're pretty close. What's crazy is the national average now, not Ohio, but national average, right now is $2.25, man.
That's not bad.
It's only an 80 cents difference.
There
was, 7-8 years ago where we were up above $4.
Yeah.
And it's gone back down, but of all the changes in the 17 years, only an 80-cent difference right now from gas on the national average.
And again, the reason why we're doing this because the Patriots and Rams played back in 2002. Yeah. It was the greatest show on turf versus the relative unknowns, the New England Patriots.
It's crazy. Like let me ask you one more thing.
What's up?
Who the NFL MVP was that year?
Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kurt Warner was the MVP that year.
But that's a great point because something
Dick Vermeil was their coach.
Some information I wanted to put down. And I didn't really look at the defensive players, but offensively, that year the Patriots were the 2 seed in the AFC, upset the Steelers, unfortunately, in the AFC Championship.
Was it that terrible Tommy?
No, Cordell Stewart. Yeah,
that's still Cordell Stewart. Yeah.
And then the Rams were the 1 seed, beat the 3 seed Eagles in the NFC Championship. But just look at these comparisons: the Patriots, Tom Brady. Antoine Smith was their running back.
I know who Antoine Smith was.
Troy Brown was a monster.
Troy Brown was
then.
He was one of those guys, and they were actually he's been in a lot of run now because he's the NFL Network's bringing him on. NFL. Okay. He was one of those guys. He played in his career. He played receiver, defensive back, punt return, kick return. He played safety. He would play running back for the team. He was a Swiss Army knife that Bill Belichick really got his monies for with that. So I love him.
And their second leading receiver in the Super Bowl was Jermaine Wiggins. Was it tight end?
I can't remember exactly who he is. I remember their running back. The running back was a kid that was I think he's I'm not going to I don't want to say where he went to college because I don't want to be wrong with it right off the top of my head. But he was a young kid, very good. He had some knee injuries right after that Super Bowl run, and he retired very early.
Okay.
They also had defense though. They had Brewski, Vrabel, Mike Vrabel, the NFL coach, and Mike Vrabel is an NFL coach for the Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm. And Ted Bruschi, we all know who he is. They had Richard Seymour, Rodney Harrison. I mean, that's
all right. I shouldn't have skipped over defense because that's a great. Yeah.
I'm sure that McCourty played on that team too. He looks old. I don't know. Evan McCourty, whatever those guys are. The Rams squad, though. Whew.
Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk. The leading receiver, actually, for the Super Bowl was Azahir Hakim.
But
then you got Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. Crazy. Mm-hmm.
And they had defensively, they had Kevin Green, the outside. He was with the Steelers for a long time.
Yeah.
He was a really good ram for them. These teams, I mean, and you think about it, what's the constants, right? When you come to these two teams right now, Tommy Brady and Bill Belichick are still with this team. And the Rams have gone from St. Louis to LA to St. Louis. They probably had to stop in Memphis, Tennessee for some reason. But just to see they had Jeff Fisher for many years. I mean, it couldn't be two completely different opposite directions that these franchises went. Yep. And to think about it, the Patriots, very consistent. And there's so many, we know this. Tom Brady's been a part of 53% of the Super Bowls since he's been in here, and 17% of the Super Bowls overall ever played, Tom Brady's name has been a part of it. 17% of the Super Bowls ever played, Tom Brady's been a part of it. That is ridiculous in a sense of a word. But then you have the Rams, who went from one of the best teams to ever do it. A team that nowadays would just fit in. But back then, they were way above what the NFL thought that any team can ever do. Let's run. Let's play this run and shoot offense. Get up to the ball. Run.
Greatest show on turf, right?
You had a guy, yes, the greatest show on turf. You had a guy in Kurt Warner who was bagging groceries, and now he's the MVP of the league. They won the Super Bowl the year before. Everyone forgets about that. They won the Super Bowl the year
Was
before.
that I thought it was the year where the Titans fell 1 yard short?
Yep.
I thought that was 2 years.
Maybe it is 2 years ago. I mean, because it always.
You're probably right.
It always throws me off because the season that they play the Super Bowl in, like the year is always a year after technically the season played. Yeah. So this is the I
think you're right, actually.
But yeah, so I mean, you think about this team, and the Rams were the greatest show on turf, and then they went from that to just continuous bottom dwellers of the AFC West, and they moved from St. Louis to LA. They had all this turmoil, all this everything, and you have the consistency of the Patriots, and they meet once again. That's just crazy to me. Yeah. So let's move on from these comparisons and everything, and let's talk my favorite thing in the world, betting. And I know we could have talked about this a little bit. I will get into our preview. We'll get into what we're going here. We're about 15 minutes left in the show, so we're going to jam-pack a lot of things in here. But I want to give you my few favorite prop bets. I'm not talking about over or under 10 points in the first quarter. I'm talking about how many times that Tony Romo will correctly guess the play pre-snap.
What's the
over-under is 7.5.
Okay.
See, this is the kind of stuff I bring to the table. I'm not talking about, well, how many yards I got to throw for? Who's going to score the first touchdown? No. How many times is Tony Romo going to get the play right, Zach?
Under
7.5. He's going to do 6. Dude, that's awesome. So that's the kind of stuff I'm bringing to the table here. So there's that. The next one that I love. What color will the liquid be that's poured on the head coach of the winning team? So here it is. It's lime green. Lime green / yellow is the betting favorites. Then you have orange in order. I'm giving this in order, okay, guys? Lime green, yellow is the one that's the first one. Then you have orange, blue, clear / water. Then purple is by far and away the underdog of all of this. The greatest Gatorade in the world is G2 Purple. At me about it, bro. I will fight anybody. The best Gatorade in the world, G2 Purple.
I don't disagree, but I'm going blue.
Well, I'm just saying, well, blue. But so you were about halfway there. The betting line's plus 375. I'm not going to get in here and try to explain what that means because I can spend 20 minutes on that. So here's this one. This one is you had to put in a little bit of a future on this one because it involves the NBA with the NFL.
Oh,
what will finish first? James Harden's streak of scoring 30 points or more in a game, or the Super Bowl? So we're probably going to be the Super Bowl because we're probably James Harden has 1 or 2 more games away, but I thought this was a fascinating bet. So it was the favorite.
So if his streak ends before, so
what ends
it's
first?
Whether his streak ends before the Super Bowl.
Yes, before the end of the Super Bowl. That was one of the bets. Not to get political on this platform, guys, but Donald Trump's tweet February 3rd, over or under 5 is a bet.
You can actually bet these in Vegas?
Yes, these are prop bets in Vegas.
Crazy.
These are from OddsShark. Most of these are from OddsShark, and you can go to dude. I was watching All Bets Are Off on Fox Sports 1 yesterday, and there was a bet of it was touchdowns, number of touchdowns scored, so not points, but number of touchdowns scored in the first half, or goals that Manchester United will have in the entire game this Saturday. They put all this stuff on there, and if you don't know who Manchester United, that's a soccer club in England. So, and they only score a couple goals there. Here's the last two. Let's get these last two ones, okay? Tony Romo over or under 2.5 times. He says, "Here we go," because he says that all the time. And finally, which commercial will air first once the Super Bowl starts? The betting favorite is Budweiser, which I didn't. Then they have Bud Light, which I also thought aren't those the same? But they're not. Stella Artois is the third. Michelob Ultra or Bon and Viv Spike Seltzer. So it must be which one of these alcohol commercials will air first once the Super Bowl starts. I don't know what Bon and Viv Spike Seltzer is, but that they're getting a plus 500 on that. So that's the betting. That's the bets that I bring to the table. These are the prop bets. These are the bets that matter when it comes to the Super Bowl.
I'm very interested in the James Harden one.
I'm very interested in how many times Tony Romo correctly gets the play. I'm taking the
So
over.
remember, I said 6. So.
I'm taking the over, bro.
Right.
I'm hammering the over. Tony Romo is going to be out there like Nostradamus. Oh, we're going to go run to the right here. He's going to check down the run to the left. Watch out, Gronk. He's up top by himself, one-on-one. They're going to throw a fade. I'm telling you, he wants to be a superstar, and this is where he comes from it. So
I'm interested because there's been so much hype about him after the championships.
He was amazing.
And it's like, now, like, does he maybe take a step back because he doesn't want to get it wrong?
Nah, he doesn't get anything wrong. He's Tommy Romo. The Super Bowl's already happened in his mind. He already watched the film. So let's end this podcast. Let's wrap up the podcast. We got about 10 solid minutes of actual football talk.
All right.
So Zach, thoughts? Are you happy to see this matchup?
Hell no.
Okay.
No, not ever. I have no interest in ever watching the Patriots, and I didn't want to watch the Rams either. The Rams just aren't interesting to me. I would have much rather seen the Saints, and I even gave in. I started liking Patrick Mahomes, and look where he's at home, just like all the Steelers. I do not want to watch the Patriots anymore. I'm really talking about my feelings here, but I'm going to watch it because I'm a sports fan, and it's going to be probably a good game. But Jared Goff, no. I just don't really care about watching Jared Goff.
I'm actually very interested in watching this game. I think these were the two best teams heading into the NFL season from each respective conference.
The Rams bought their way there.
Yeah,
they did.
And I think that the Patriots, if you didn't think they were the favorites coming into this year, you were either living in Pittsburgh or hated Brady. I think that they were the betting favorites to be out of the AFC, and the Rams were the betting favorites to come out of the NFC once the season started. So I want to say that we get the best matchup on paper once the season started. Do I like this matchup? No, but I think that there's two keys to this game, Zach.
Okay.
This is the Banghart coach mode. My last name is Banghart, if you never knew that by any chance. But these are, when I look at the film, when I watch these teams play, I think there's the two keys, one for each team. If they perform this, they will win this game. And it's going to be really simple when it comes to if the Patriots win this game, if they stop the run. Now, when you're a coach or you're a fan, like Zach, if I say stop the run, obviously, right? That's you try to stop the run every time. But the Rams are when they get very one-dimensional, they get very bad offensively. So in the losses since Todd Gurley has been a part of the Rams, and let's just say in the last 2 years, because that's why I've narrowed this subject down to the Jeff Fisher-less Rams, so the Sean McVay Rams. In the losses, Todd Gurley is averaging 46 rushing yards per game. In their wins, he's averaging 100 yards on the dot in their wins. That's a big discrepancy right there. I mean, that's 5 first downs. There's probably a touchdown sprinkled in there. Goff, in the losses, has a QB rating. So it directly correlates with shutting down Todd Gurley. Goff, in those games, has a passer rating in losses of 46 as his QBR. And in wins, it's 110. So when they're running the ball, they can set up play action. They get more throwing lanes. When they can't run the ball and the teams are keying in on Goff, they end up turning Goff over a lot more. Goff, in those losses, is a 2-to-1 interception to touchdown. Every one touchdown, he throws 2 picks in the losses. But he throws for 303 yards. In the wins, for every 1 interception, he throws 5 touchdowns, and he only throws for 290 yards. So if you limit them throwing the ball, or if you limit the Rams running the ball and make them throw the ball, they become more predictable. And I don't think Goff by himself yet it can win a game. He hasn't proven yet that he can win again. Think of Goff's best games. You think of the Saints game this year. He was absolutely amazing. They lost by 10. Got Todd Gurley in that game. Didn't really do anything. Even I know that you can say that they won the game, and that's the crazy thing is they won the game last week, and Todd Gurley didn't do anything on the ground. The Dallas Cowboy game was the best game that they played this postseason, this year for the Rams. What did they do? Pounded the ball. This is a run-first team. Is anyone wants to sit there and say that they're explosive offense? They are, but they're a run-first team. If they don't run the ball, they're not as explosive. So that's the key. If the Patriots are going to win the game, limit the run. If the Rams are going to win the game, if the Rams are going to win this game, they need to get pressure up the middle. Again, Zach, when you're a coach and you're on the defensive side of the ball, what do you tell your guys up the middle? Get pressure, limit them. They're not going to run the ball much. Get into Tom Brady, make him go off his spot. Some of Tom Brady's worst games he's ever played in the Super Bowl were against the New York Giants. Who'd they have up the middle? UC Umanuma, I can't pronounce that. UC Umanora, I can't pronounce his name. He would get the pressure and and they would stunt Strahan into the middle, get pressure there, force him off his spot. They got sacks, made him uncomfortable. He throws the ball a little looser. And I think in that situation, Atlanta did this very well in the first half 2 years ago. They got Tom Brady off his spot, and they were able to do it. Now, what is the strength of the defense for the Los Angeles Rams? Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald. Get the pressure up the middle. If you can force him off the spot and get him uncomfortable, I think that's how the Rams win this game. Because Pats like to get the ball out real quick. If you can make disruptive moves and make Tom Brady get off the spot just a tad, make the throw maybe off by an inch, it changes the dynamic of James White getting the ball up in the field where he's able to run the ball, or if he has to kind of move and make the catch and he gets tackled. So that's the big keys of the game. I did talk a lot there. Your face is... I don't know what your face is right now.
I'm just listening. You were in your zone,
dude. So this is awesome. So those are my keys to the game, and I'll tell you here in a couple minutes what my thoughts on are the winner and loser. Zach, what do you have to add to that?
Here's my feedback.
So I can shut up
and
for a little bit.
It's interesting how I see it and how I've seen the last few games. Is if the Patriots are going to win, I think they have to run the ball. That's why they've been so successful. Is they've been running the ball well with Sony Michel. He's been a huge part of their game plan, where when coming into the playoffs, the way that the season ended, it was, all right, it's going to be James White all day. And it really hasn't been as much because they've been able to run the ball with Sony Michel. Tom Brady hasn't been sacked once. Not once.
He hasn't been touched once.
Not once. If the Rams get to him at least once, I think they win.
I don't know about that, but because I think Dexter Fowler's Sue and Donald can get to him at least once or twice.
And you could have said that same thing about the Chargers pass rush, and they didn't even come close. Now I'm not comparing; they're not on the same level.
I actually think the Chargers are very comparable to the Rams pass rush. Different ways.
I think that I'm on the same page with you. Outside of, I think the Patriots need to move the ball on the ground and not force Tom Brady to have to consistently win it with his arm.
And the running the ball will stop a Aaron Donald / Sue pass rush. Maybe they'll sprinkle in a lot of screen plays to James White in that as well. And they have the quick releases to Edelman. I think Gronk is actually going to have a pretty good game in this game as well.
In his final game?
Yeah, well, it could be. I don't know. But yeah, I like what the matchups present, because what the Patriots do well is they take the best player from the opposite team in these big games. They take the best player on the opposite team and they negate him, Todd Gurley. Mm-hmm. What is the best thing when the Rams are doing with Todd Gurley's being the great? And then what the Rams do well defensively is they get pressure up the middle, which is Tom Brady's one of his known weaknesses in his whole career is pressure. It's a very small weakness because he still is very, very great when it comes to that. But to think about it, that's their strength is Tom Brady's weakness, and the strength of the Patriots is the Rams' weakness. So I think this is just a very interesting matchup when it comes to that. Tom Brady's crazy. Dude, I'm looking over his stats for the Super Bowl. He's literally gotten better each year. His second year, he had 354 passing yards, but he went 100, 200, 200, 200, 300, 300, 400, 505 passing yards last year.
505 passing yards last year.
3 touchdowns, no picks.
Wow.
Last year, everyone thinks he was washed up then, too. And a loss, 505 yards, by the way. And he could have had 560 if Gronk caught the ball in the end zone to win the game. But I'm just saying, I just like what Tom Brady does in big games. The Patriots, don't expect, if you're betting out there, don't expect a high-scoring first quarter. The Patriots in the Super Bowl history. So how many times the Patriots been in the Super Bowl now? This will be their 9th time.
Okay.
So 8 games that they've been a part of the Super Bowl. Can you tell me how many points they scored in the first quarter?
17.
3.
Wow.
They don't get off to fast starts.
That's crazy.
Even when they were up, they were down 28-3 against the Atlanta Falcons.
Ugh, that game was so disappointing.
I mean, you look at the scores that they've won. 2017, that was against the Rams. 32-29, 24-21, 17-14, 17-21, 28-24, 34-28, 33-41. In the last 2 years, they had a lot of scoring in the second half. The Patriots get off to a slow start in the Super Bowl. They measure out their team. They don't show you much. Next thing you know, boom, goes a dynamite. They score a lot.
You know what's interesting is how much of the talk that we've had has been about Tom Brady and not enough about Bill Belichick. everyone. I just think Brady's great. He's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play, but he gets more credit than he should. Bill Belichick is a much bigger part of their success.
What's the adage with the quarterback? They get too much blame when the team loses, and they get too much praise when the team wins, and that's what it is. Bill Belichick's a great head coach. He had the Jets job. Like, how good of a head coach is he? He didn't even have the foresight to see the Jets being a dumpster fire. Well, then he quit. Well, I guess he did have the foresight, because he was like, no, I don't want to be with the Jets, and they took the Patriots job. So maybe he is the greatest player, or greatest coach of all time.
What's interesting though is we'll never know, because I guarantee you they both stop at the same time.
It's so unbelievably interesting. You know what? It would be like the Patriots and Belichick and Brady's way to really mess with our minds. To them all, have him retire at the same time too. Be like, nope. You'll never know who was better than who. It would just be their way of trolling us. So
if the Patriots win on Sunday, are they the greatest sports franchise?
I think they already are.
All sports?
Yeah.
You think that they are a better franchise? I don't even know if they're... Come on, they're not even the best franchise in their own city.
Who?
The Celtics.
No.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Well, here.
More championships, don't they?
Well, yeah, but basketball has been playing the NBA Finals. Whatever. I also
think in the NFL.
First off, when the Celtics won a chunk of their titles, there was 12 teams in the NBA. So let's calm that down real quick.
Okay.
I think that the Patriots sustain what they've done for the past 17 years. It will be seconded by nobody.
I don't disagree with that.
You know what? This Patriots team is the second best. What's the word I want to say? Because I don't want to say organization, because it will counteract what I'm going to say. It's the second best stretch in sports history. The first best is LeBron James going to 8 straight NBA finals.
Okay.
That's the greatest stretch. That's the greatest continuation stretch of greatness that I've ever seen. And that's a little bit biased because I love LeBron James, but this is crazy. 9 straight AFC championships. Tom Brady. This stat is what I'm going to tell you about. Is that the Super Bowl's been playing since 1966. 1966. I mean, that's when your parents were kids. Tom Brady's been a part of 17% of the Super Bowl since 1966. It is 2019, people. That's a long time.
It is, yeah.
So we're going to end the show with our predictions, since we are up at the hour mark right now.
I will point out that the New England Patriots are 2.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 56.5.
Hammer the under. And I will lead us off with predictions, or do you want to lead us off?
Go ahead.
New England Patriots win 28-23.
You didn't have it written down? You just...
Well, you gave me a look like I needed to change my score. Were you going to say you have the Patriots winning 28-24?
Yes.
That's why I said 23.
Yeah, I have the Patriots 28-24.
No, I'm going to say... Actually, I'm going to take that back. Patriots 27... Rams 24. I think that... not 24. I didn't have it written down. I just know I have the Patriots winning.
Okay.
So here, my final prediction, the official Matt&Zack prediction is 27-23. I think something weird's going to happen.
Okay.
27-23 Patriots.
Official Matt&Zack prediction is Patriots with the under with a score of 28-24.
Yep. So we're both taking the under. We're both taking the Patriots to cover.
Yeah.
And the Patriots to win overall. We're a very boring podcast. We don't disagree with each other very often. Like that's pretty self-explanatory.
I go against Tom Brady and the Patriots a lot just because I always tell myself it has to end someday. So I'm not going against them this time.
Oh, so now it's going to end because you're not going against them. That's how it is. Okay. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up the Super Duper Super Bowl podcast.
Super Duper Super Bowl.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. I know this was a little different. If you liked it, we got a lot of pop culture in there. We got some commercials in there. We got some movies in this. We like to do different things. We're just two dudes that love talking, and sports is one of the things we like talking about. We love movies. Yeah. We love music. We love everything about it.
As we get further into the year and less to talk about as sports start to dwindle down, obviously we got a lot of basketball coming
madness,
up.
Bro.
But you're gonna hear me talk about movies. If I see a good movie, you're gonna hear about it,
dude. And you know what? I want to listen to that. So what was that?
I was just gonna say, by the way, I am starting to rewatch Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
And just gotta say this real quick. Starting to rewatch season 1 and seeing so many little things that you're like, if that would have just went differently, that one little thing, it would have changed everything.
Exactly, dude.
And it's just like, because I've only watched everything once. So this is my first time rewatching. So.
I've done a lot of rewatches of season 1 many times.
Yeah, this is my first time.
So guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Super Duper SuperBowl Podcast. Super Duper SuperBowl Podcast.
Ooh,
guys, we really appreciate you guys' continued support. Get over on the social medias. We're
Check
at
us out.
Matt&Zack Show, Twitter, and Instagram. Get over there. Get us out there. If we're thinking about this, and let us know. And if you're still listening, thank you so much. Thinking about maybe doing something Super Bowl Sunday. We're gonna be together. If you want us to do a little quick half hour or something together, let us know. We'll put a poll out there. Please let us know if you guys want us to do that. But I think that's it, man. This is great. Super Bowl is this Sunday. I would say I don't have a rooting interest in the team.
No, I got rooting interest in commercials.
And I want to see a great game. I just want to see a really good game. So, well, until next time, right? I'm Matt.
And this is Zach.
Peace.